Hello Zenith women, and welcome to the channel. The strongest minds aren't loud. They're the ones that smile quietly while the world tries to break them. Ever met a woman who didn't flinch when the room turned hostile? One who doesn't explain herself, doesn't chase validation, and somehow still commands the respect of those who secretly envy her. That's not just confidence, that's mental armor forged in silence. Here's a fact. According to numerous psychological studies, women are biologically wired to be more emotionally reactive, but Sigma females? They're the glitch in that system. They don't just resist emotional chaos, they dissect it like scientists watching a volcano erupt and calmly taking notes. While the rest of the world is busy having meltdowns over likes, followers, and ghosted texts, the Sigma female is sipping her tea, planning her next strategic exit, or revolution, whichever feels more appropriate. So buckle up, because what you're about to discover isn't your usual strong, independent woman narrative. This is a surgical breakdown of why Sigma females are mentally tougher than most, and trust me, this isn't empowerment fluff. This is psychological warfare wrapped in lipstick. Ready? Let's go deeper. Number 1. She kills the ego before the world gets the chance. She kills the ego before the world gets the chance. That's the secret behind the Sigma female's mental strength and why people can never really shake her. While others spend their lives building a shiny version of themselves for the world to like, she's in the background tearing down her illusions. She already asked herself the hard questions. She already faced the ugly parts of who she is. She's had arguments with her own reflection. She's battled the fear of not being enough, the shame of past mistakes, the embarrassment of failing, and she didn't post about it. She dealt with it, alone. So when someone tries to insult her, it doesn't land. When people try to humiliate her, they're late to the party. She's already confronted the worst things about herself and made peace with them. That's why she's unshakable. She's not perfect. She just stopped pretending to be. People who haven't dealt with their ego are always on edge, always defending, explaining, reacting. They're terrified of looking weak, of being judged, of being rejected. But the Sigma female walks through fire without needing applause. She doesn't flinch when people misunderstand her. She doesn't crumble when someone tries to expose her flaws because she already sat with them in the dark and didn't run. That kind of self-awareness is rare and dangerous because you can't manipulate someone who doesn't fear their own truth. You can't shame someone who already accepts herself fully, flaws, scars, weirdness and all. Her calmness in chaos, her ability to walk away without needing to be right, and her silence when others are loud, that's not passiveness, that's control. That's self-mastery, that's the result of killing the ego early. So the world doesn't get to use it as a weapon against her. Most people are walking around like glass, fragile and waiting to be shattered by opinions. The Sigma female, she's already broken herself down and rebuilt with steel. So when life comes swinging, it finds nothing soft to pierce. That's what makes her so different. That's what makes her so tough. Not because she's cold, but because she's already fought the inner war most people are too scared to start. Number 2, she accepts betrayal as part of the contract. She accepts betrayal as part of the contract. Not because she's cynical, but because she's done pretending that loyalty is guaranteed just because you're kind, honest, or consistent. The Sigma female doesn't walk around with wide-eyed trust. She walks in with her eyes open, fully aware that some people only show up to take. She knows that betrayal isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a slow fade, a quiet shift, a pattern you feel before you can prove. But here's what sets her apart. She doesn't let betrayal harden her into bitterness. She doesn't turn cold or cruel just because someone else failed her. She knew it could happen. In fact, she expected it. Not in a paranoid, negative way, but in a grounded, grown-up way. She signed the emotional terms and conditions. People will let me down. Some will lie, some will leave, some will twist the knife. And still, she chooses to move with grace. That doesn't mean she tolerates disrespect. Oh no, she'll walk away so fast it'll make your head spin, but she doesn't give betrayal more power than it deserves. She won't obsess over it. She won't beg for closure. She won't make a show of it. She'll process it in silence, make a clean cut, and keep moving. It's not that it doesn't hurt, it's that she doesn't hand the knife back for round 2. She doesn't go back and forth trying to fix what someone already chose to break. Her strength is in her detachment, her emotional independence, the quiet way she lets go without turning it into a performance. The Sigma female is mentally tough because she no longer expects people to be flawless. She expects them to be human. And when they prove it in the worst ways, she doesn't fall apart. She just updates the file and moves accordingly. That's not cold, that's intelligence. That's survival without losing your softness. And that's why she stays powerful in a world full of people who betray and then play the victim. Number 3, she doesn't break, she reconfigures. She doesn't break, she reconfigures. Pressure doesn't crush the Sigma female, it challenges her architecture. When life falls apart, she doesn't sit in the ruins crying, "Why me?" She goes quiet like a software engineer mid-crash, analyzing what failed, what held up, and what needs to be replaced. Most people panic when their life blueprint gets torn to pieces. She sees it as an opportunity to redesign herself from the ground up. She's not afraid of breaking down because she knows the version of her that comes next is always stronger, smarter, sharper, more aligned. She's not addicted to being whole all the time. She embraces the mess. She leans into the chaos. If something inside her is outdated, an old mindset, a weak boundary, a fear she inherited, she doesn't defend it. She strips it away. Her transformation isn't loud or dramatic. You won't see it all over social media. You won't hear about her healing journey in a caption. She'll disappear for a while, maybe seem distant, maybe seem off. What's really happening is an internal upgrade, a recalibration. She's uninstalling beliefs that don't serve her, reinstalling confidence and rewriting the code of how she shows up in the world. And when she returns, she doesn't need to prove she's changed. You'll feel it in her energy, in her eyes, in her refusal to shrink back into a version of herself that tolerated less than she deserved. This ability to reconfigure, to evolve through breakdown instead of collapse, that's rare. Most people get stuck in their story. They wear their pain like a badge. Sigma females treat pain like a mirror. They look into it and ask, what do I need to become so this never breaks me again? That's what makes her mentally tougher than most. Not because she never falls apart, but because she knows exactly how to come back. Smarter, calmer, and far more powerful than before. Number 4, she feeds off psychological isolation instead of avoiding it. She feeds off psychological isolation instead of avoiding it. Most people panic when the noise dies down. They reach for distractions, drown themselves in social media, or chase validation just to avoid the stillness. But the Sigma female? She walks straight into that silence like it's a sacred place. She doesn't run from being alone with her thoughts. She relies on it. That quiet space where everything feels too loud for others is exactly where she clears her head and sharpens her instincts. She's not afraid of hearing her own voice echo back. She welcomes it, because that's where the real clarity lives, beneath all the filters and noise. While others crumble when their masks come off, she thrives there. She doesn't need constant input from the outside world to feel real. In fact, too much of it drains her. People call her distant, disconnected, or cold. But that's just what it looks like when a woman has learned to enjoy her own company more than shallow noise. She uses isolation as a weapon, a reset button, a space to observe, reflect, and detach. That time alone isn't empty, it's full of recalibration. She's replaying conversations, decoding people's energy, studying her own reactions, and tightening up her boundaries. It's not avoidance, it's precision. She doesn't ghost people because she's weak. She disappears because she's refining. Psychological isolation gives her something most people never find: depth. The kind of depth that makes small talk exhausting and fake connections unbearable. While others fear being alone because it reminds them of what they're avoiding, the Sigma female goes quiet to find what she's becoming. She knows that silence reveals what noise hides, that stillness is a mirror, and most people look away from it. But not her. Her mental toughness comes from choosing to be alone, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, even spiritually, when necessary. That's where she levels up. That's where she prepares. And when she steps back into the world, she's not seeking anything. She's already found it in herself. And that's what makes her untouchable. Number 5, she doesn't crave empathy. She uses it strategically. She doesn't crave empathy. She uses it strategically. The Sigma female knows exactly how to connect with people's emotions, but she doesn't let those emotions hijack her logic. She understands that empathy is a tool, not a lifestyle. While others wear their feelings like open wounds and get pulled into everyone's chaos, she keeps hers under control like a surgeon with a scalpel. She can feel what others feel, but she doesn't drown in it, she watches. She listens. And then she decides, is this mine to carry or not? She doesn't go around trying to save everyone, and she doesn't confuse being emotionally available with being emotionally reckless. That's why she doesn't get drained like other women do. She's not overwhelmed by emotional guilt, pity, or obligation. She knows when someone's manipulating, when they're just venting with no intention to grow, or when they're silently begging for attention through drama. She clocks it instantly and keeps her energy to herself. Empathy without boundaries is emotional suicide. She knows that. So she protects her peace like it's sacred. When she shows up for someone, it's intentional, not because she wants to be liked, not because she's afraid of seeming cold, but because she's made the conscious choice to show up. That's why her presence hits different. It's rare and it's real. This makes her mentally dangerous in a world full of emotional oversharers. People don't know how to handle someone who listens deeply, sees right through them, but doesn't react the way they expect. She doesn't feed ego, she doesn't entertain guilt trips, and she definitely doesn't play emotional caretaker to grown adults who refuse to help themselves. Her empathy is clean, no strings, no savior complex, no need for applause. She uses it like a compass, guiding her interactions, filtering people, measuring depth. She can sense when someone's in pain, but she doesn't lose herself in the process. That's power most people don't even recognize. While others waste time drowning in emotions that aren't theirs, the Sigma female stays above water, clear-headed, centered, and lethal in her emotional discipline. That's not coldness. That's controlled empathy, and it's a rare kind of strength. Number 6, her inner dialogue is harsher than any critic. Her inner dialogue is harsher than any critic. She's not tough because people have gone easy on her. She's tough because her mind never has. The Sigma female holds herself to a standard most wouldn't dare set. While others need feedback, validation, or a wake-up call, she's already torn herself apart in her own head a dozen times. Not out of self-hate, but out of brutal self-awareness. She doesn't sugarcoat her flaws, and she doesn't give herself participation trophies for showing up. If anything, she's harder on herself than life ever has been. When people try to humble her or point out her weaknesses, they don't realize they're late to the conversation. She already had that talk with herself. In fact, she probably said it sharper, earlier, and with less mercy. She doesn't live in denial about who she is or where she's failing. She faces it, stares it down, sits with it long enough to understand how to change it. That's why she doesn't get defensive when criticized. She's heard worse inside her own head. And that's also why she doesn't get high off compliments either, because she knows what parts of her still need work. Her confidence isn't inflated. It's earned. It's grounded in truth, not fantasy. She doesn't wait for motivation to strike. She doesn't rely on mood. Her discipline is military level because she doesn't argue with herself about what needs to be done. She already ran the calculations, weighed the excuses, and deleted them. She doesn't pamper her feelings when her standards are on the line, and she definitely doesn't rely on someone else to push her forward. The pressure is internal, constant, relentless, but here's the twist. This harsh inner dialogue doesn't break her, it builds her, it keeps her sharp, it keeps her grounded. While others are distracted by hype, emotions, or outside noise, she's locked into reality. That self-honesty gives her an edge no one can fake. No one can sell her a delusion she hasn't already dismantled in her own mind. Her mind isn't always kind, but it's truthful. And that's why she's so mentally tough. Not because she's emotionless, but because she refuses to lie to herself, even when the truth stings. Number 7, she learns in painful silence instead of victimhood. She learns in painful silence instead of victimhood. The Sigma female doesn't broadcast her wounds. She doesn't turn her pain into a public campaign or wear it like a badge. She sits with it, quietly, brutally, and with full presence. While others rush to vent, post, or gather sympathy like it's currency, she retreats inward, not because she's weak or ashamed, but because she respects the depth of what pain can teach her. And she knows healing isn't a group project. She doesn't need an audience to validate her suffering. She doesn't weaponize her past to gain leverage in conversations. She doesn't turn her struggles into an identity. She's seen how easy it is to get addicted to sympathy, how some people become professional victims, reliving their trauma just to stay relevant. That's not her style. She doesn't want to be pitied. She wants to understand what the pain was trying to show her, and she learns, silently, fiercely. She observes herself in the storm, how she reacts, who she becomes, what breaks and what refuses to bend. She studies the emotional wreckage and starts rebuilding, not with noise, but with wisdom. There's no performance here, no inspirational speech while she's bleeding, just real-time reflection, internal rewiring, and quiet transformation. It's what makes her dangerous in the best way. Because people don't see her coming. They think she's unbothered because she doesn't make noise. They mistake her silence for weakness, not knowing it's the silence of someone rearranging their inner universe. Someone who's turning pain into strategy, loss into insight, betrayal into sharp intuition. That's the Sigma difference. She doesn't let pain define her, but she lets it refine her. And she doesn't tell you what she's learned, she just becomes it. The lessons show in her choices, her new boundaries, her shifted energy. She didn't tweet about the hurt, she built something with it. She's not a victim, she's the alchemist, the woman who can burn, grieve, heal, and return stronger without making a sound. That kind of quiet power, it scares people because it doesn't beg for attention, it just evolves. Number 8, she's more dangerous when she's silent than when she's angry. She's more dangerous when she's silent than when she's angry. When the Sigma female raises her voice or shows emotion, she's giving you something rare, access. It means she still sees value in explaining, in expressing, in trying, but when she goes silent, that's when the real shift happens. That's when you've already lost her, and you don't even know it yet. Silence is her battlefield, not screaming, not slamming doors, not dramatic exits. When she gets quiet, she's not sulking. She's observing, calculating, analyzing what just happened, how it affected her, and most importantly, what needs to go. That silence isn't passive, it's not fear, it's not avoidance, it's a strategic retreat into her mind where she's drawing lines, cutting cords, and making moves without saying a single word, and she won't warn you. Sigma females don't do second chances wrapped in ultimatums. They don't give loud goodbyes. They exit in full control with every emotional string already cut. Her silence means the conversation has ended in her mind, even if you're still talking. And if she's staring at you with that unreadable expression, she's not processing feelings. She's mentally reorganizing her life without you in it. People panic when she goes quiet, but by then it's too late. The decision has been made. You just weren't invited to the meeting. Her silence is a weapon, not a cry for attention, not a manipulation tactic. It's a sign of power tightening inward. While most people erupt when pushed, she withdraws. And that's far more unsettling because you realize she's not trying to hurt you. She's not even thinking about revenge. She's simply removing your access to her world efficiently, permanently. And the scariest part, you'll never see it coming. There's no explosion, just a vanishing. One day you're there. The next you're erased, emotionally, mentally, energetically. No rage, no closure, just gone. Because the Sigma female's silence isn't empty. It's final. Number 9, she trains for emotional pain like it's a mental gym. She trains for emotional pain like it's a mental gym. While most people do everything in their power to avoid discomfort, the Sigma female actively seeks it out. She doesn't shy away from emotional turbulence. She welcomes it as an opportunity to grow stronger. When life throws a curveball or a situation tests her limits, she doesn't fold or retreat. Instead, she leans in, deliberately stretching her emotional resilience like a person pushing their body past its limits in the gym. Most people see pain as a sign to stop or pull back, not her. She's learned that growth happens when you stay in the discomfort long enough to figure out what it's teaching you. Instead of letting herself be overwhelmed by tough situations, she practices emotional endurance. She faces harsh truths, raw experiences, and painful realities with the same mindset an athlete uses to push through a tough workout. It's about enduring, adapting, and coming out on the other side stronger and more capable. Where others break down or shut down, the Sigma female expands her emotional capacity. She doesn't try to numb the pain with distractions or surface-level coping mechanisms. She feels it. She analyzes it. She allows it to shape her character without letting it define her. The more she faces, the more she can handle. Pain becomes less of a burden and more of a training ground, a chance to develop the mental toughness that makes her unshakable. This mindset means that no emotional challenge, no matter how intense, ever feels insurmountable to her. She's already conditioned herself to handle emotional strain, so when life hands her stress, rejection, or heartache, she faces it like a warrior in training. She doesn't just survive it, she grows because of it. And the more she endures, the less fazed she becomes by the ups and downs of life. Emotional pain isn't her enemy. It's her personal development plan. It's this unique ability to train in emotional discomfort that gives the Sigma female her unshakable resilience. She knows that true strength doesn't come from avoiding the hard stuff, it comes from facing it head on and coming out stronger every single time. Number 10, she chooses the long cut over the shortcut every time. She chooses the long cut over the shortcut every time. Sigma females have an instinctive aversion to shortcuts. While most people are looking for the fastest way to success, the least resistance, or the easiest solution, she's already chosen the longer, harder path. It's not because she enjoys struggle, it's because she understands that anything worth having is worth the effort. And she knows that shortcuts don't build real strength. They just give you temporary wins that leave you unprepared for the bigger battles ahead. She isn't fooled by instant gratification. She knows that real growth doesn't happen when things are handed to you or when you cut corners. When everyone else is taking the easy way out, the Sigma female stays committed to the grind, the struggle, the slow and steady progress that forges real character. The road less traveled is the road she knows is the one that will test her, shape her, and ultimately build something far more valuable than quick success: inner strength. She understands that the difficult path teaches the most. It's the lessons, the setbacks, the uncomfortable moments that challenge you to dig deeper and push harder. The Sigma female doesn't back down from those moments. In fact, she seeks them out. Because in the end, she knows that what doesn't challenge you won't change you. This is why she voluntarily chooses the hard path, even when no one's watching. It's not for approval, not for validation, and certainly not for a quick reward. It's because she knows the only way to grow, evolve, and stand firm in a world full of easy distractions is to constantly push herself beyond what's comfortable. The shortcuts might get you there faster, but they leave you fragile. The long cut, the hard way. It's where she builds the mental resilience, discipline, and grit that no easy win could ever give her. When others boast about taking the shortcut and getting ahead, she'll be quietly moving forward, step by step, with a deeper understanding of what it truly takes to achieve greatness. And when she gets there, she won't just have the title. She'll have earned it with every ounce of effort, every failure, and every victory along the way. Number 11. She's built a mental firewall against guilt trips. She's built a mental firewall against guilt trips. The Sigma female has an uncanny ability to spot emotional manipulation a mile away. When someone tries to use guilt as a weapon, she doesn't flinch. Instead, she sees it for what it is: emotional blackmail masked as concern. And just like a computer defending against malware, she blocks it instantly, without hesitation. People often underestimate her ability to detect this kind of manipulation. Guilt trips are like a slow poison for most, but for her, they're as transparent as glass. She can hear the subtle tones, catch the passive-aggressive hints, and notice the unspoken pressure, but none of it affects her. She doesn't feel the need to explain herself, apologize, or justify her actions just because someone's emotions are tangled up in an attempt to sway her. She understands the psychology behind guilt trips, and it's this understanding that makes her unshakable. She knows that true relationships, whether personal or professional, don't operate on emotional blackmail. People who try to manipulate others into doing something out of guilt aren't coming from a place of care or love. They're coming from a place of control. And Sigma females don't play by those rules. Instead of reacting to the pressure, she remains calm and detached. She doesn't let the emotional noise get to her. She's not cold or uncaring. She just understands that making decisions based on guilt is a trap. It's a quicksand that pulls you in deeper the more you try to appease others. She has no interest in getting stuck in that cycle. If she wants to help, she'll do so freely without any strings attached. But if it feels like someone's trying to manipulate her, her mental firewall goes up. She blocks it, shuts it down, and moves forward with her own decisions. For the Sigma female, guilt is just a tactic, one she's already neutralized. She doesn't let anyone use it to dictate her actions. Her choices are her own, and no amount of emotional pressure will make her waver from that. In the end, the Sigma female is a force unlike any other, a blend of unwavering clarity, emotional endurance, and raw mental toughness. She doesn't follow the crowd, nor does she seek validation from external sources. Her power lies in her ability to adapt, to break down and rebuild, to face reality head-on with the quiet confidence of someone who knows exactly who they are and what they're capable of. While the world is busy chasing shortcuts, instant gratification and fleeting hope, she's quietly mastering herself, relentlessly pursuing clarity and carving her own path through the chaos. Her resilience isn't born from a desire to impress or conquer. It's rooted in a deep, almost primal understanding of who she is, what she stands for, and the fact that her strength is self-made, not borrowed. She doesn't seek easy victories. She thrives in the grind, not because of the hustle, but because she knows it will shape her into something better, something unbreakable. And while others may falter in the face of challenges, she stands tall, not because she's immune to pain or struggle, but because she chooses to transform those very things into the building blocks of her evolution. She doesn't need anyone to understand her journey because she's already made peace with it. The Sigma female's mental toughness isn't just a defense mechanism, it's the foundation of a life built on authenticity, strength, and clarity. In a world that constantly demands more, she remains unwavering in her commitment to herself, knowing that her true power comes from mastering the art of resilience, and it's something no one can ever take away. If you found these insights as powerful and thought-provoking as we intended, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on more content that challenges the norm and empowers you to think differently. If this resonated with you, give it a like, share it with those who need to hear it, and drop a comment to let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear how these points connect with your own experiences, or how you see the Sigma female's power in your world. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and keep embracing your inner strength, because the journey doesn't stop here.